We are fighting, ladies and gentlemen. We are fighting. And this is why Amulet Titan is a good matchup for twin-style combo decks. They have to slam into the Gust that they know about, which must feel horrible for them, I understand. What you gonna find? What you gonna get with that Primeval Titan opponent? Hello, and welcome, everybody. We are back here with another league with Blue-Red Kiki, and the reasoning for that, other than the fact that I just happen to like this deck and this style of playing, is that as a user pointed out on the last league that we played, playing against Hammer Time and Blue-Red Living End twice each in the league, and not playing against any black-green grindy decks or any of the Uro/Omnath type control decks, is not a very well representative league. So here we are to play a quote-unquote real league, although one thing I will say is that I think that, especially if you've been following any content recently, it's pretty clear to me that the those mono-white Hammer Time strategies are the real deal, and they're probably going to be around for a while. At the very least, they're flavor of the month, and I could see people staying on those decks for a while, so I definitely consider that deck to be a real deck, and I'm not surprised to have faced it multiple times. That said, here we are to give Kiki another spin, another shot here, and there are a few changes from the last list, that being no Blood Moon in the main board, the 4th Archmage's Charm, maybe the 3rd and 4th, I don't remember if we were playing 2 or 3 before. We are also playing Blitz of the Thunder Raptor instead of the Flame Slash. I don't know if this is going to be any good. I kind of wish that Blitz of the Thunder Raptor could just be another card to deal damage to our opponent, but alas, here we are. I could see maybe a Burst Lightning, but Burst Lightning is also a little ineffective. It's not nearly as good as Lightning Bolt, sadly. We also do see 3 Cascade Bluffs and 1 Sulphur Falls. Hopefully we won't have hands with just these 2 lands, as that can get quite awkward. But Cascade Bluffs is very good when you're playing this many basic islands at fixing for Kiki. Then moving on to the sideboard, again, we're not playing any Blood Moons at all whatsoever. We have Aether Gusts for those Titan decks, and against Tron, we'll just hope that we can tag their turn 3 Tron spell with a Remand or a Rejection, and then just try to combo them from that point on. Anyways, here we are. We have our explosives, of course, to deal with the Death Shadow and Tarmogoyf decks of the world. A couple disputes to fight on the blue axis, as it were, and a couple Jaces. We'll see exactly how well this goes. Hopefully you guys are excited to see some Kiki in action, and I will see you guys in the games. And we have our match. Let's jump in here and Kiki combo some people. On the draw, sadly, playing against Pat Ross. We have 1 mana interactive spell. We have a couple 3-drops here. Would like to have a Remand, but I think we keep this on the draw as well. Awakening to try to dig for a Kiki. We see turn 1 Amulet. Ah, interesting. This is the other deck that I tend to like to play. I suppose it makes some sense to leave up Lightning Bolt here just in case our opponent has a Tribe Scout. I think they would have played Tribe Scout first, actually, but I guess they could also have a Azusa, perhaps. So let's leave up the Bolt. It's not going to hurt us to get a tapped Stevens here. This is a matchup where our Aether Gust in the sideboard should be quite good. At this point, Amulet pretty frequently plays Karn the Great Creator, so that's something to be thinking about, of course. See if they pick up the bounce land here, and they do. There's the Azusa. And they are wisely stacking their triggers here to ensure that they get both land drops. I say stacking their triggers. Of course, they play the Garenbrig first because it doesn't trigger Amulet, and then they immediately can use their priority to play second land. Now, the question is, do we want to bolt this Azusa at all? I'm not really sure. Our opponent has Titan this upcoming turn regardless, although I suppose getting rid of the Azusa means they can't get several Valakut triggers or something along those lines, or like transmuting a T-West and going into some line after that this upcoming turn. I could see bolting here being correct. Of course, we're going to need to find a Remand pronto, or we're going to be in really big trouble. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to add Force of Negation into this deck. That is fine. Let's go ahead and fire off this Bolt. Pass it back. Hope our opponent doesn't have the Titan. Oft. Alright, well, let's play our island and pass it back. It's possible our opponent will play around something like a main board Blood Moon. It's possible our opponent won't. I would be not surprised if they just went for it here. We'll see. This also prevents them from doing something like Cavern into Bounce Land in order to give their Titan uncounterable here. So now they would have to be jamming into Remand and making that as a conscious decision. Pretty soon we'll be able to get this Pestermite into play. We could consider stealing the Amulet with Archmage's Charm, although generally it's not the best play. Especially if they play out their Bounce Land here, which they are seeming to do. I think they're going to be making land drop progress here, most likely. Picking up the basic forest, perhaps? Or the Garen Brig? Oh, they do pick up the Gruul Turf. Okay. And they do have Karn. Well, we could opt for Force, which we don't have. I suppose if we opt right here, then it makes our opponent think that we have Force. So, I guess we're going for it. Don't need another land. Cryptic Command. It's going to be a little too late. They're going to minus Karn here, of course. I'm a little surprised... Try Scout. I'm a little surprised that they didn't leave the Gruul Turf in play. In all honesty. I'm not thinking that stealing anything with Archmage's Charm is going to be particularly good here, so... We might be required to counter a Liquid Metal Coating or something this upcoming turn. I don't think that we could beat that one. They do get the coating. So yield into this instep. I suppose we could actually just yield through the turn. Whatever. Alright, let's play out our Sulphur Falls, I suppose. Playing out Cascade Bluffs would be very representative of specifically a Kiki deck, and right now our opponent potentially doesn't know how we're planning to win this game, so... Liquid Metal Coating. Like I said, I don't think that we can beat this one, seeing as our plan here is to Kiki our opponent, so let's go ahead and counter that one. If our opponent has Titan, then I guess they got us, although they did tap their Garen Brig, so if they had Titan, they currently couldn't play it. A little bit of a punt. They're minusing for the old Trinisphere here. I don't think that one does anything against us. Trinisphere is not a usual one to have in the Amulet Karn board, so I'm a little surprised at that. I actually think Trinisphere probably hurts them more than it hurts us, as it taxes their pacts to be 3 mana, so... Yeah, I don't think we mind that. Let's play out the... I don't know if it actually matters what land we play here. Again, if we conceal the Cascade Bluffs, it might prevent our opponent from knowing that we have Kiki in our deck. I'm pretty tempted to just play the island here. Not the island, the mountain here and pass. Of course, now our opponent knows that they don't have to worry about Blood Moon because of our mana base. Although we could still just play Fetch Kraken and play Blood Moon, so maybe they'll play around it, maybe they won't. Gruul Turf. That one is fine. They can pick up their land here. Does not bother me. And they are going to put in Gruul Turf again, presumably going for a Titan, which we will Cryptic Command. Turn Timber Symbiosis. We don't want this to just naturally hit a Titan, so I think it's probably right to just go ahead and counter and draw this. We could always let it resolve and then go for the Pestermite, because if we draw a Kiki, then we just win, but there's no guarantee that happens. I guess the upside, though, would be we could clock the Karn with our Pestermite as well. I don't know if they activated Karn this turn. I don't think they did. Oh, they did. So we can guaranteedly get Karn out of play, which actually seems like it could be a very high upside. I think I'm going to let this resolve and hope they don't hit Titan, and if they do, we can still Cryptic to tap draw or just bounce the Titan, perhaps. And we can still just top deck Kiki and win on the spot, so let's actually just let this resolve. If they hit something that doesn't really matter... Okay, they do hit the Titan, which is pretty unfortunate. we can let this go. If they search for the haste lands here, we can tap down the Titan in response with our Pestermite and be just fine. And now, again, like I said, we do have Kiki to top deck. We can always Cryptic to tap draw this upcoming turn and hope that our opponent doesn't have access to Dryad with their Valakut here. They are going for the haste. That's Pestermite. You do not get to attack with this Primeval Titan. I apologize, opponent. It's not in the cards for you. Yep. Alright, Kiki off the top just wins. So we do have 3 draws out of 47 that just win the game. If we get another island into play here, then we can start using Mystic Sanctuary with our Cryptic. Shark Typhoon. That is not a Kiki. Alright, let's put our fetch land into play, I suppose. We'll get this Karn out of play. For sure. And we'll pass it back to our opponent. Certainly should not let this Titan attack, I would think. That's fine. Begin combat. This is no longer fine. Let's tap all creatures our opponents control and draw. Dig in for that Kiki once again. Remand, not really helping. So, the argument for leaving the Delta in play here is that if we top deck an island, we can fetch a Sanctuary, cycle Shark Typhoon for 0, and Cryptic tap again. So I think we're supposed to leave the fetch uncracked here. Kiki. Okay, there's our island. So it definitely got rewarded for that play. Let's get a island. Might as well clock our opponent for 2. Alright, begin combat. We have something to say about that. I don't think we can afford to bounce our Mystic Sanctuary to our hand with the Cryptic, as that would require us to draw another instant speed draw effect. I suppose we have things like other Shark Typhoons and Opts to do so, but I am not convinced, so I think we just need to top deck Kiki here. Sad to say, as it may be. Yeah, I think we have to tap draw. Let's see, we have 2 Shark Typhoons, 3 Opts. Snapcaster Mage would let us snap Cryptic. Now let's just tap draw. Alright, we need a Kiki or a Snapcaster off the top or another Cryptic command. Those would all be fine. Colony Garden. Now that one is not one that you typically see in modern day amulet lists. That's very interesting. We do hit the opt, so we got super punished. I guess we can opt into Kiki, so let's try that. Let's see, actually, if we played a fetch, we'd be 1 short of casting. Oh wait, opt actually doesn't do it because of this Trinisphere here. Okay, well, are we just dead? We can opt into a Pestermite to tap the Titan. Or Awakening into a Pestermite might even be better. Okay, so let's play our bluffs. Or actually, maybe we don't play anything at all here. Okay, I don't think we play anything at all. Hold on. In our second main phase, let's rethink that, because we can also Awakening into another Cryptic command, in which case we would need the extra land. We can put back the Opt and the Remand and the land and get 4 fresh looks here. Is the 1 extra card worth having 2 less outs? I think we have to just concede that if we draw Cryptic, then we cost ourselves that potential out. Let's see, we have exactly 4 Pestermites. No, 3 Pestermites. Yeah, actually, I think we need these additional 2 outs. So let's play the land. and pass it back to our opponent. Trinisphere did something after all. We could opt into Pestermite or Cryptic, or we could just draw 4 with Valakut Awakening. We're probably supposed to draw here. Amulet doesn't matter, of course. Feel the Dead also doesn't matter at this point. Alright, this is the time. This is the one and only time. Cryptic Command or Pestermite. That's what we're looking for. Any of those plus Kiki is actually insane. Assuming our opponent doesn't have Dryad to go along with this Valakut. Any order. That does not do it. Yep, we are dead. I mean, I suppose we're not technically dead. We'll see what they get on the attack. Because they do still have to kill us this turn, which I'm pretty sure they could do with Dryad, but we could maybe have kept the Remand, although I think our opponent would be able to cast Dryad through a Remand anyways at this point, so. I get double bounce land. So I suppose we'll see if they have the Dryad in hand already. Alright, yeah, that's fine. And if our opponent doesn't stop us from going digging for a Kiki with this opt, then we might be in pretty good shape. Actually, did they get Bog and Bounce Land? I assume that both triggers were from a Bounce Land, but it could have been Bog and Bounce Land, which makes sense. Playing around us, having Snapcaster Mage or another Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, so we get another look at Kiki here. Definitely casting Oft. Bottom. Remand, okay. Cryptic Command, okay. So that gives us another couple turns. I think we play the land at this point. Still clocking with our 2-1 flyer here. Pestermite showing its strength over Deceiver Exarch here. Although, honestly, we'd rather have copies of Exarch and Pestermite at this particular instance, but that's fine. Let's tap draw. No point in bouncing Mystic Sanctuary, as we know our opponent has Bog. Alright. No dice. They play the Bog. Alright. Sad Snapcaster Mage. We are fighting, ladies and gentlemen. We are fighting. Azusa, you got it. I guess we could remand there, but yeah. Probably should have remanded just to get the card out of it. Are we casting this Bolt? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think we put a lot of cards on the bottom with Valakut Awakening and Opt and whatnot, so I don't think we fetch here. Alright, Kiki. Pestermite. Does that do it? The attack for 4. Attack with the 4 zombies, probably. And we are able to bolt 1, take 6 down to 3. We actually just take all the damage, or flash in a snap to trade with a zombie or something. So I guess that does technically help us. Right, let's clock again with the Pestermite, I think. I really doubt these Pestermites are going to go the distance, but might as well. Might as well. If we play the Delta, then we can double fetch and Pestermite remand our own Pestermite and cast it again. That said, I don't think just tapping out is going to be worth it, probably. Although I don't really think our opponent's going to play another spell. But that would also require us to fetch away all the bad cards we put on the bottom. So I'm going to wait on that. Alright, let's do the thing where we continue to tap our opponent's threats and try to gain additional draw steps. We can always yield this guy. Yep. Alright, you can attack. We can use Pestermite to block. Or we can flash and snap, or just use a bolt. Let's see. We block, take 7, 8. We don't actually have to block at all here. Just take 8 down to 1, then we can't fetch. Is that a problem? I don't think so. And at this point, we have our opponent on a 3-turn clock. Alright, what is this land about to do? Sunhome, perhaps? I think we don't want to respond to this. Gruul Turf. Okay. Interesting. I think that we're supposed to go down to 1 here, since our fetch land doesn't really matter. I suppose if we were to draw an opt, and we were at 1, then we couldn't crack the fetch land after opting and finding a Kiki to then cast said Kiki. But also, we currently have 7 points of damage on board, so our opponent is effectively at 5, which means we could also flash and snap to attack. No, but they have blockers for that anyways. I think we're supposed to block here so that we can opt into Kiki. I kind of thought this game was already over, but we somehow keep gaining additional turns. Cast a spell so that we can remand its opponent. That's what we need. Scout. Are we remanding this, or do we expect they'll just pass after this scout? I think we're remanding this. We lose to a Dryad, or a Summoner's Pact, which we're going to lose to anyways, even if we remand that, so I think we don't play around those. Kiki. Off the top. Kiki and our... There we go. No Dryad. Please no Dryad. Please no Dryad. Just pass, opponent. Just pass the turn. Scout. Cool, cool, cool. Pass, 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 pass. Come on, pass. I think that we got him. Come on. Resolve. Let us have this. Let us have this. Let's save targets. Always yield. Alright. Target Kiki. Save targets. Yes. Yes. Alright, I think we got him. Whew. Rough game. Whew. I did not think we were going to win that game. But we played to all of our outs and got heavily rewarded for it. We want these gusts. We want rejection, specifically because we saw Karn. If they did not have Karn, rejection would not be good enough for just Amulet. In fact, sometimes Amulet does not even matter. But because of Karn, we want rejection. Jaces, maybe, maybe not. Slamming a Jace after making sure our opponent can't Titan could be good, but it also taps us out, so that one's kind of debatable. I think we probably want Jace, though, especially to help us dig for Kiki. We'll see if we get punished. Dispute, Anger. As we just saw, the Feel the Dead tokens aren't that terribly relevant. Angering away those is probably not where we want to be. Blitz could kill a Dryad, which is relevant. Bolt kills Tribe Scout and Azusa, which I don't think our opponent will be siding out. They might side out Azusa, or Tribe Scout, but I think having 4 bolts is fine. We can also Bolt, Snap, Bolt a Titan, so that's probably fine. Alright, Awakening seems good. Typhoon. I would argue that Typhoon is probably not relevant. So I think we can trim a bolt, maybe 2. I guess we're trimming bolts. And Cryptic is good. And I actually don't know what to cut here. We want all of the cards that are currently in our deck right now. Maybe we don't need these 2 Jaces. Maybe we do. Definitely want Rejection. Charm is not amazing. Although it does let us draw 2 if we don't use it as a counterspell. So, I don't know, maybe not. Is Blitz the wrong way to be going? We probably need to deal with a Resolve Dryad if they have it. Awkward. We can trim Opt because of the Trinisphere, although I don't want to do that too much. Digging for Aether Gust could be good. Let's go with 1 Jace. We'll try this. Man, I cannot believe that we won that match. Not match, the game. You know what I'm saying. We have a Rejection for a Karn, we have Pestermites, and we have Archmage's Charm to deal with a Titan, so this feels like a keep to me. If we draw any 2-mana counterspell, it'll be fantastic. Our opponent molds to 5. Yikes. We just want a 2-drop to interact with their Dryad here. And then we'll be pretty much set up. No Bolt for this turn 1 Scout, sadly. Although we only have 3 bolts in deck right now. All of this is fine. We'll get our Steam Vents right now. Might as well. This makes it a little more likely we draw some form of interaction like that. Fetch land again? Nah, let's save it for a Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, opponent, do me a solid and cast Karn this upcoming turn so we can just Rejection it. Got it? Got it. Stirrings. Cool, cool, cool. See if I care. They do find Karn. Ceremonious Rejection loves the sound of that. If they had another untap source, they could have cast Karn this turn, but they did not. Alright, we'll untap. Kiki is great. Island. Go. Sure. Blast Zone. Vaguely... They could have cast Karn that turn. They had a red floating. I guess they didn't want to. Intriguing. Cavern. That one's kind of annoying. Definitely gusting. Oh, they're casting Karn first? No, they're casting Titan. Okay. Well, next turn we have Pestermite untap into another Gust if we draw it. Although, to be honest, we'll probably be tapping their Gruul Turf. Heck no. Get out of here. Their last card is Karn. So if we... Next turn we can Pestermite tap the Gruul Turf and hold up Ceremonious Rejection for the Karn, and then the turn after, we can Pestermite Gruul Turf again. Taking our 1. We have a pretty clear path to victory here. We just need to draw a red source. It's not a red source. Alright, we need a upkeep stop here. Set stop. And we'll pass it back. Probably don't want to fetch here as we just want to draw any red source. So let's go ahead and cast this Pestermite. I'll fetch Shock if we have to get this Rejection down. Can't let our opponent's Karn resolve, as they will get Pithy Needle. Alright, opponent. Cast your Karn, we'll Rejection it. Cool beans. Definitely getting a Steam Vents here. And this is the reason why the deck plays 3 Steam Vents instead of 2, by the way. This kind of situation comes up very often where you need yet another red source, but you've already got 2 Steam Vents in play. So if we draw a fetch, because of our inclusion of a 3rd Steam Vent, we'll be able to combo our opponent. If not, though, we can just Pestermite tap the Gruul Turf, no big deal. That is not a red source. We can put Gust back on top. That buys us an additional turn, so I'm pretty into that. And then we can Gust plus Archmage's Charm to draw 2. Yeah, this seems fine. Alright, let's clock for 2 with our Flyer and get back to our opponent's upkeep here. Any red source is what we're looking for. Any red source. Our opponent can't even get Titan into play here. I guess if they had exactly Castle Garenbrig, they could, because they could Ghost Quarter themselves for another forest and have the green to activate. So, no castle, please. All right, they pass it back. That's good news. Red source. Of course, we put the Gust on top. What am I saying? We'll clock. Pass it back. Gust our opponent's Titan. Charm to draw 2 cards, and then Kiki them, hopefully. No upkeep effects this time. And this is why Amulet Titan is a good matchup for twin-style combo decks. They have to slam into the Gust that they know about, which must feel horrible for them, I understand. We actually even have a Veil of Summer covered here, because we could Archmage's Charm to counter the Veil if we had to. Alright, we need to hit a red source off of this Archmage's Charm. And into the battlefield, untapped red source. Draw 2 cards. Red source. Red source. Red source. Not you. Not you, Valakut Awakening. Alright, untap. Not a red source. Okay, we'll keep our cool here. Let's play this Awakening tapped, so that next turn we can cast Kiki, and we'll use Cryptic to, like, tap and draw or something. Attack with all creatures. We could actually even upkeep bounce their Gruul Turf with the Cryptic to potentially keep our opponent from being able to cast Titan. That might be better than tap drawing. We'll see if they do anything with their Tribe Scout end of turn here. They don't. So if we were to bounce draw this Gruul Turf, we'd be playing into them having 2 untapped sources or a Garenbrig, but the upside is they definitely wouldn't be able to haste. I suppose they could have exactly Amulet and Bounce Land. Amulet Bounce Land Titan would allow them to attack as well, but I think it's pretty free to do this. But then we also lose to Dismember. If they play a Titan, let's assume they have no untapped sources, because they might have played them if they had them already. They can play Titan. No matter what they search for, we get to bounce draw the Titan or tap draw their team or whatever, and then they have tapped out of Dismember mana. So they can't cast Dismember if they go that way. Unless they are playing heads up and they get a bounce land and something else and pick up an untapped source to hold up Dismember. I don't think they're going to try to next level us up that way, though. They'll probably just get Field of Dead and something else, or like Tolari West and a bounce land. I'm pretty inclined to let them actually cast a Titan here, because I think them tapping out is good for us. Alright, Titan, yeah, we get it. We know, that's all cool and all. Here he comes. Herdy-dur. Cast the 6-drop, that's cool. What you gonna find? What you gonna get with that Primeval Titan, opponent? Let's hope they don't hold up Dismember. Because if they don't hold up Dismember here, then we know for sure we have the win. Alright, they got a Growth Chamber and I don't know what else. Valakut, was it? I don't remember what it was. You tell me in the comments. See if they get an untapped source here. Picked up Cavern. Right. They could still flash in the Cavern. They could flash in the Cavern with the Tribe Scout to have Dismember available. So, let's see. We have 5. We are going to have 7 mana open. So if we Archmage's Charm into a Remand with our draw 2, then we have the Dismember covered. So I think that's what we're supposed to do here. Okay, no Remand. Could still find one. Alright, no Remand. Do we play into Dismember? We know they have a land that they picked up, the Cavern, in their hand, and the other 2 are unknowns. If we go for Kiki, and they have the Dismember, then we have really no path to win here. If we tap draw their team, and they have a Dryad, then they can hold up Ghost Quarter or a Tribe Scout activation to win on the spot anyways, even through our Kiki. Unless we draw a Bolt, in which case we can clock them down to 2 and then snap Bolt. I think we're supposed to go for the Kiki here. I don't think that we can realistically beat a Dryad in any scenario, so we just have to hope that they don't have the Dismember. Okay. This Pestermite right here. Save targets, always yield. Alright, target Kiki. Save targets. And it's already always yielded. Will yes. Our opponent has not yet used Dismember, so there we go. That is the game. Whew. Now that was an awesome match. That is what we play Kiki for, is this kind of a gameplay. That was very engaging, very interesting, at least to me. I don't know if our opponent would feel that way, but regardless, let's go to the details here. This is why you play Kiki Jiki and Pestermite in your blue-red control deck, is because in matchups like this, you can just slam the window on your opponent and say, you know what, you've got Cavern, you got Field of Dead, you've got all of the inevitability in the world. Eventually, our Aether Gusts are not going to be enough to handle what you're doing, but in all reality, I'm just going to put this Pestermite and Kiki into play and win the game, and there's nothing you can really do about it. And that's basically exactly what we saw. Of course, if you were playing something like Thing in the Ice, you could try to turn the corner and clock your opponent with your big creature or whatever. Kiki don't want none of that, though. And to be honest, that's how I like to play my blue-red control decks. So, that was a very interesting round one. I'll see you guys for the next one. Let me know what you thought in the comments. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.